You think your life is falling apart. You think nothing is working. Doors are closing, people are leaving, plans are failing. And deep inside, you are asking, God, why is this happening to me? But what if this is not happening to you? This is happening for you. Emotional build-up, 1 o'clock. There was a time when you trusted everything. You trusted people. You trusted your plans. You trusted your timing. But slowly, everything started breaking. The people you loved changed. The opportunities you waited for disappeared. The dreams you built collapsed. And you thought, this is the end. Pause, soft tone. But God says, this is not the end. This is the beginning of what I already planned. Story flow, 2 o'clock. You cried at night. You questioned your worth. You felt lost, alone, broken. But you didn't realize one thing. Every rejection, every delay, every failure was not random. It was protection. Deep message, 3 o'clock. That job you didn't get. That relationship that ended. That opportunity that slipped away. You called it bad luck. But God calls it redirection. Intensity increase, 340. Because sometimes the path you want is not the path you need. And God doesn't give you what you want. He gives you what will transform you. Soft reveal, 430. You thought you were being delayed. But you were being prepared. Prepared for something bigger. Something stronger. Something you couldn't handle before. Closing of part 1, hook for part 2. So next time, when things don't go your way, remember this. This was already set. And what's coming next will make everything make sense. Have you noticed something? Things that once felt wrong are starting to make sense. People who left your life, you're realizing now, they were never meant to stay. And those situations that once broke you are the same ones that started building you. Realization build up, 110. God's plans aren't loud. They don't come with clear announcements. They show up as signs. Small moments. Unexpected delays. Doors that quietly close. And you sit there wondering, why is this happening to me? Soft shift. But God says, I'm not stopping you. I'm protecting you. Story flow, 2 o'clock. Think about that time when you didn't get that job. You felt crushed. Like everything you worked for meant nothing. But months later, you started to see it differently. Because if you had gotten that job, you wouldn't have grown beyond it. Second example, 240. Or that relationship. The one you thought was everything. When it ended, it felt like your whole world collapsed. But slowly, you found yourself again. You became stronger, wiser, and closer to who you truly are. Deep Message, 3:30. Here's the truth. God never takes something away without a reason. What feels like a loss is often a rescue. Intensity Rise, 4:10. Every no carries a bigger yes. Every delay holds perfect timing. And every pain has a purpose behind it. Emotional Pause. You're starting to see it now. That everything is under control. Even when it doesn't feel like it. Spiritual Turn, 5 o'clock. God says, when you think everything is falling apart, I'm actually putting everything in place. Realization Moment, 5:40. Now you can see the signs. What you thought were coincidences were actually guidance. Closed doors were protection. Delays were preparation. Build toward transformation, 6:20. You're changing. Your mindset is shifting. You're not reacting the same way anymore. You're understanding things differently. And that is the biggest sign of all. Something is different now. You don't react the same way anymore. Things that once shook you don't have the same power over you. You've been through too much. And somehow, you came out stronger. Shift in mindset, 1 o'clock. Before, you used to ask, why is this happening to me? But now, you're asking, what is this trying to teach me? That one shift changed everything. Inner Growth, 1:40. You started letting go of control, of expectations, of people who didn't value you. And in that process, you found peace. Not because everything is perfect, but because you finally trust the process. Spiritual Message. God says, I had to remove what was hurting you, even when you didn't understand it. Deep Transformation, 2:30. The nights you cried built your strength. The silence you felt built your awareness. The waiting built your patience. Intensity Build, 3:10. You didn't just survive. You evolved. Your mindset is stronger. Your heart is wiser. Your spirit is unshakable. Powerful line. You're not the same person anymore. And that's exactly the point. Realization, 4 o'clock. Everything you went through was shaping you for something bigger than you imagined. Because the old version of you couldn't handle what's coming next. Spiritual Turn, 4:40. God says, I wasn't punishing you. I was preparing you. Emotional Build-up, 5:10. Now look at yourself. You're calmer, stronger, more aware. You don't chase things the same way. You attract what's meant for you. Clarity Moment, 5:50. And finally, you understand this truth. Not everything you lost was a loss. Some things were necessary endings. To make space for better beginnings. Final build before Part 4, 620. You've grown. You've healed. You've changed. And now, you're ready. Closing hook, Part 4 tease. Because in Part 4, everything will make sense. You'll see how it was all connected. How it was all planned. And why. This was already set. Now look back at everything you went through. The nights you cried. The moments you almost gave up. The times you felt completely lost. And ask yourself, what if none of that was wasted? Realization Peak, 110. What if every step, even the painful ones, were guiding you exactly where you're meant to be? Because now, things are different. Shift, 140. The same doors that once closed are now opening in ways you never expected. The same life that once confused you is now starting to make sense. And the same person who once felt broken now feels stronger than ever. Spiritual message. God says, I saw the path you couldn't see. I knew what you needed, even when you didn't. Deep Connection, 230. You thought you were being delayed. But you were being aligned. Aligned with the right people. The right opportunities. The right version of yourself. Intensity Build, 310. Because timing is everything. And God's timing is always perfect. Not early. Not late. Exactly when it's meant to happen. Emotional Truth, 350. If things had worked out the way you wanted before, you wouldn't be who you are today. You wouldn't be ready for what's coming now. Powerful line. That's why it had to happen this way. Clarity Moment, 430. Now you see it. Everything was connected. Every loss. Every lesson. Every moment of pain was building your path. Spiritual Declaration, 510. God says, nothing in your life was an accident. I was working behind the scenes the entire time. Final Build-Up, 540. You were never alone. Even in your darkest moments. Even when you felt forgotten. Even when you thought God was silent. He was working. Setting things up for this exact moment. Climax, 620. And now, you're standing here. Stronger. Wiser. Ready. Not by chance, but by design. Final Message, 650. So if you're still waiting, still struggling, still trying to understand, remember this. Just because you don't see it yet, doesn't mean it's not already set. Ending line, 715. Trust the process. Trust the timing. And most importantly, trust God. Because your story was already written.